Joining us now is Reed Lindsay, a journalist with Belly of the Beast, a media outlet covering Cuba and U.S.-Cuba relations. Reed, thank you so much for joining us. You live in Cuba. Explain to us how much you've personally seen things deteriorate in terms of just access to basic goods over the last few months, which eventually led to this boiling point.
Well, over the last year, since COVID began, there have been a lot of scarcities in Cuba. Very long lines, much longer than normal. People waiting for hours to buy specific things like chicken or detergent or soap or cooking oil, for example. But this is going back a year. In recent months, things have gotten even worse. Some products that generally are not scarce, like sugar, have been scarce as well. But really, one of the biggest things has been medicine. Cuba produces most of the medicine in the country, in large part because of the U.S. embargo. They've tried to become self-sufficient in the production of medicine, but they do import raw materials to be able to produce that medicine. And in recent months, there have been shortages, including raw materials to produce vaccine. And you know, some of these the scarcities and economic crisis have to do with COVID, but a large part of it has to do with U.S. sanctions. Cuba was already in an economic crisis before COVID.
And there were protests all across the island, and there were reports of the internet being cut off. We know in general internet connectivity can be an issue, but where do things stand at this point?
Well, interestingly enough, I have had internet all day in my house. Most people don't have internet in their homes. I have had spotty internet on my cell phone. From what I've heard talking to people, most people seem to not have internet on the cell data. It's a relatively new phenomenon in Cuba. It's only been in recent years that there has been internet on cell phones, but that seems to have been cut, certainly for most of yesterday and as well as today.
And a big cause for these protests is the pandemic, as you mentioned. But back in April, we did a story on Cuba developing 5 vaccines. At that point, they planned on distributing some of them by May. What's happened with the vaccine rollout there?
Well, the vaccine rollout is continuing. In fact, I got my second dose of the Abdullah vaccine just a week or two ago. It is continuing in Havana. That's where the focus has been, to vaccinate Havana completely, because not long ago, this is where the greatest number of cases were. One thing that has hurt vaccine rollout has been sanctions. According to the Cuban government, the Soberana vaccine has been, according to the government, they've stalled production because they've been unable to get a material that they need to produce the vaccine because of the U.S. sanctions. Meanwhile, the rest of the country is where there have been a greater number of COVID cases. The vaccine rollout is supposed to come later to the provinces, and it hasn't really gotten there in time, and that's why you're seeing rising number of cases outside of Havana.
All right, Reed Lindsay, we thank you so much for reporting in for us from Cuba tonight. Appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.